And I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Um, okay, we've got a cue to start it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on how to research, write, and cite accurately and efficiently with Paperpal. It's our first session in the new academic year, and we're so glad to have you take the time out to join us. I'm Nolita Coelho, your host for today, and I head up the product division at Paperpal. I'm excited to hear your thoughts and reactions to some of the latest features we've been cooking up on Paperpal that will be covered in the demo. Keep these comments and your feedback flowing via the chat window on the right of your screen. And if you have any specific questions that you want to be addressed as part of the Q&A segment later, then make sure to drop it in the side panel in the questions section. So, joining me today is Shardool Nair, a member of Paperpal's product team. Hi, Shardool. Uh, he's our resident PhD expert, and having completed 3 years of his PhD journey before he decided to switch and become a part of the academic editing team on medicine manuscripts here at Editage. Editage is Paperpal's parent company that's been offering professional academic services for over 20 years. So, getting back to Shardul, he really believes that if he had access to AI tools like Paperpal back then, he'd definitely be motivated to make it to the finish line of his PhD. But until he decides to give his PhD another shot, he's pouring all of his experience, his ideas, and energy into making sure that Paperpal really makes a difference to each one of your writing goals. Today, he'll demonstrate how Paperpal and AI can assist in the writing process, how human plus AI can really collaborate in your writing journey. So pay attention, don't worry about notes, screenshots. You will receive a full recording of the session along with the presentation that I'll be showcasing and some goodies so that you can go back later and try it out yourself. With this, let's dive into the presentation, starting with a quick overview of Paperpal before heading into our demo. I believe many of you are new to Paperpal, so this might be useful if you haven't experienced the product before. So give me a second till I get the deck up on the screen. Okay. Shardul, can you confirm that we have it on the screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, Nolita.
Great. Um, Thanks for those reactions from the audience. So PaperPal started off mainly as a tool that helps you polish your draft paper, be it an essay, manuscript. Its biggest strength is in the ability to understand academic context. Now, what does this mean? It understands technical terms and writing styles across 1,300 fields of study. Now, how did we achieve this? So, we combined 20 years of our human editing expertise at Editage with advanced machine learning techniques to create a sort of a best in class AI editing tool for academic text. Now, this technology doesn't just power Paperpal, the tool that you use, but it also powers Paperpal's pre flight, pre submission checks that run across the journal submission workflows of over 500 leading journals worldwide. Now, we didn't stop there because our vision at PaperPal was much bigger. Our mission is to help every individual that sits down to write daily for those 30 or 60 minutes, irrespective of whether English is your first language or not, to have the most productive writing experience. And not just that, but how can writing be something you enjoy and you look forward to rather than dread? Procrastination gets to us all. So, over the last year, we've transformed PaperPal from merely a polishing tool to one that can assist with inspiring your writing. It can help you actually build up your text from a blank draft, construct your entire first draft, right up to the finish line and even beyond. Today, you'll see Shardul demonstrate not all, but many of these new features that address the biggest challenges that confront academic writers. The top three that have emerged from the survey of our attendees today basically are conveying ideas correctly and clearly, finding new perspectives, and really overcoming writer's block. With this, I'll hand over to Shardul to take you through the demo. Over to you, Shardul.
Thank you, Nolita. Thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's present in this session. And let me know if everyone can see my screen right now. So, Nolita, can you please confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, Shardul, I can see your screen.
All right. Hi, I'm Shardul, and I'm an associate product manager with the team. And I'm going to demonstrate live how we can use Paperpal to research, find papers and content for our reading, how to start writing with Paperpal, how to continue writing with Paperpal, how to cite your papers, how to get feedback from Paperpal, all of this from within the app. So, as researchers, as students, we all have, let's say, our literature, our content, our reading. And yet, we are sometimes not very sure how to actually begin our writing process, right? When we look at a blank page, most of us, including me, we get that writer's block, which actually prevents us from actually starting with our writing. And that is where Paperpal actually helps you start writing even when you're on a blank page by providing with certain options right off the bat on a blank page. So you can use any one of these. But in this demonstration, what I would like to demonstrate is the write feature or write with AI feature. So when you click on write with AI after opening a new blank document, you will see a free text box. With this free text box, you can directly establish a dialogue with the AI that pass this particular feature. You can ask any questions to brainstorm. You can get ideas and inspirations to get started writing on a topic. You can maybe use any of the custom preset buttons that are there on the screen. For example, you can use this and say, write a paragraph on climate change, write a paragraph on happiness, or how to write. So, all of that can be done. Let me show you what I mean. So with this particular text, what I will write is, I want to ask Paperpal how to get started writing on my academic essay. So I will maybe ask it something like, what points to include in my essay on climate change and mental health. So assuming that this is a topic that on which I am going to write an essay. So I will literally ask it some question and it will provide me with certain responses, as you can see here. So it provides me with a bunch of 15 responses. It tells me these are the key points that actually I should include in my essay. So we see the output over here. And when we scroll down, we have some follow-up options over here. If you like the output, if this output seems good enough for you to get started in your writing, you can accept it. If you want a different output, you can retry, or you can ask a follow-up question on this particular output. You can even make it contrasted, make it concise. For example, point one here mentions increased anxiety and eco-anxiety due to climate change. Now I can ask a follow-up question like, explain some more points on eco anxiety. So because it gave me eco anxiety as one of the topics, I can literally ask a follow up question. What will happen is that my previous response will now be used as input, and my question will be understood, and then I will get a very specific response to the question that I just asked. So here you can see I have gotten a response on eco anxiety. That is a follow up question that I asked. So that is how we can use the write with AI feature to get ideas, to brainstorm, to get certain inspirations, and establish a dialogue with the AI. Now, assuming that this particular outline is good, now this is where I want to actually begin my writing, I can go ahead and accept it. So once it is accepted, it is there on your screen. Now I see that maybe I don't want some filler text over here. The AI generated it for me, but I do not wish to have it. So I delete them, I clean it up as I require. Now, I am writing my essay, but I do not have any papers or any reading material on this topic of eco anxiety. So then, how do I get started? So, for that particular problem, Paperpal has this feature called as a research that is accessible right over here. So, on the blank page, you will find this research as ask a research question. You can simply go on research in the sidebar, and in here, you can ask a very specific question. So unlike ChatGPT, where you ask a question and you will literally get a long output, the AI literally writes the entire essay for you, and you do not get any references. You don't even know whether the output that the GPT or other LLM that gave you, is it actually correct? Is it useful? Or is it just making it all up? So unlike all of those problems, with research, when you ask a question, you will get an answer. a summary of your answer. Along with that, you will also get specific academic papers that have already been published. What do I mean by that? For example, if this is the topic or this is the point that I want to start writing my essay on, so I can simply copy paste it and over here ask a question. What I will do instead is I will rephrase this. I will rephrase this point one into a form of a question. What is eco anxiety? What is known about this in the context of climate change? So now I used a pointer that the AI gave me during my initial brainstorming session with the AI. I used that as my starting point and I frame a question out of it. So what essentially happens here is that rather than actually taking whatever the AI gave me directly, I'm in control of how I want the AI to give me content, where I want the narrative to be driven. So this is exactly how you can be a human in the loop and then drive AI to give you content that is the most relevant for you. Here you can see I asked my question and I got a summary. So what happens is we have a corpus of more than 250 million plus papers that are published, obtained from different databases and journal partnerships. So this question is understood, and unlike a keyword based search, the context of this question, what exactly is the user asking, that is understood. And here you will see a response that answers my question, and along with those responses, I also get very specific papers that actually supports each and every statement that is present in this particular response. So here, if I want to do a quick reading of the paper to make sure that this paper is indeed relevant for my essay, I can click on the title where I will see the abstract. I can read it. I can take a judgment call whether that is appropriate. If you want to add it to your library, you can add it so that you can come back at a later point of time and then read it and then access it. Or you can click on read more, in which case you will be directed to our sister product, which is our discovery, where you can read the full text if it is available, listen to the paper in an audio format, translate the paper, and so on. But in this for this particular use case, my question has been answered, and I have gotten some reading materials. Now this seems like a good particular reference paper to be included in my essay. Now I will add it to my library. So once I add it to my library, you will get a confirmation over here, and you can access this paper at any point of time later on by simply going to citation library over here. Here you can see that the paper that I actually added to my library is present and I can access it at a later point of time. So that is how I began with a blank page. I used the Write with AI or the Write feature of Paperpal to actually brainstorm, get some ideas, get some inspirations. And because I knew where I wanted to begin, I framed a question out of some pointers that the AI actually gave me in the ideating session. I asked that question inside research. And now I have a bunch of 9 reference papers with me. I began with nothing, and now I have 9 papers that are specific to the topic that I might want to write over here. In addition to actually getting papers and answer, you can also search for a specific paper by its title or by its DOI by clicking on this particular radio button. So in case, for example, if this is the paper that I wanted to find, let's say I copy the DOI from here, I go to the title and I change this to DOI. Now, what happens is again, the same corpus of more than 250 million papers will be searched, and the paper that you are looking for will be retrieved for you from the corpus. And that is how you can search for literature. You can ask questions and get relevant literature for your reading and for your writing purposes. So that is how we can get started with Paperpal from a blank page. Another way by we can get started, for example, if I am writing a research article, all right, so when I'm writing a research paper, when I have done my research, I have a bunch of references already with me. I have my results. I know exactly what I have done in my study during the course of my research. So all those references, all those notes are already present with me. So in that case, I can actually start writing by using my notes rather than actually letting the AI write things for me. And how do you do that? Very simple. Again, you begin with a blank page, you click on Write with AI. Here you will see you have the option to attach a file. It could be a PDF, a Word file, an Excel sheet, which is a literature matrix. Maybe you have 100 different rows of literature matrix with content, or even a CSV file. So this is a Word file that I have where I have dumped all my notes, some my observations, and everything into that particular Word file. Now I can use this particular Word file as the starting point. So what I'm doing here is exactly what I mentioned earlier, the human in the loop. I am taking control of what the AI will generate for me, and I'm not letting the AI generate things for me. I am guiding it. So here you can either use any of the pre-text buttons that are provided over here, or you can ask a very specific question, something like write an introduction section for my research paper. Maybe not an entire introduction, write an outline for introduction section. All right, because an outline is a very good place, and I will also get a very nice summary of what are the things I should include in my introduction section. So what happens in the background is that the content from your text that will be read, your question will be read and understood, and then the AI that passed the right feature will actually draft an entire outline for you. So as you can see, I have a very detailed outline for an introduction section of my research paper, and the content is also specific. My topic was on the climate change and mental health, and the content is very specific based on my notes. I'll go ahead and accept it. Now, the same thing, if I want to find papers, let's say if you want to find literature on the go as you are writing your papers, you can do that via the research feature. For example, growing concern about climate change and its impact, I can simply go here and ask a question and get particular references. For example, this is a particular question that I have previously asked. So I ask this question, I get a detailed summary, and again, I also get some reference papers over here. Another important feature that Paperpal has inside the research feature is the ability to cite references and citations in your text. For example, if you are writing over here and you have decided that you have read this paper and you find that this paper is the most relevant in your essay, in your research paper, and you want to actually cite it. So you can do that with Paperpal without the need for any third party application. And how do you do that? Very simple. When you see the references over here, you will also note the Cite button that is present over here. You click on Cite. What happens is a dialog box will open up. In this dialog box, you will see the default citation style that has been selected. You can click on this and change the citation style. There are over 10,000 different citation styles. You can either search by the journal name or by the style name. For example, I want to actually include that particular paper in the form of the AMA format, which is superscripted numbers. I will apply my citation style. I get a confirmation that my citation style is applied. Now, what do I have to do? Very simple. I just place my cursor where I want to actually include the particular citation. And then I click on Cite. Now, once I do that, you will see that the citation style that you selected, that is shown over here, and you simply hit Insert Citation. Your in-text citation is added. If you select that, you will also see particular information about that paper in case the abstract of the paper. And if you scroll down all the way, you will find that the same AMA format reference has also been included. And this in-text citation and the reference, they are linked. So that is how you can get an outline. You can expand upon it. You can find papers to read. You can use that papers as content to actually expand upon the outline of your particular research paper or an essay and cite papers on the go using Paperpal. Now, if I want to change the citation style, I don't have to do that manually for each and every one. I can simply click on this particular citation style that is present at the end, or I go to research. You will see the double quotes icon over here. I click on that and I say change citation style. I will choose APA for this particular purpose. And now I apply the citation style. And my citation style has changed. So if you have about 20 to 50 papers on your in-text citations and references, all of that will be formatted at the click of a button. So that is how you can find papers, you can read and consume your literature, and as well as cite those literature and papers in your text on the go with Paperpal. Moving forward, I started off with a blank page. I got an outline. I also got some materials to actually read. In case I have my own notes, my own reference papers, I use that as a starting point to get an outline to get started. Now I do that. I will do my reading. I have done enough literature review. I have expanded upon each and every outline that is present as part of the introduction section, and now I've expanded it. All right. So my introduction is ready. Now I want to continue writing, maybe let's say with my method section. Now, how do I do that? You can again do that with the write feature that I showed earlier. So earlier on a blank page, you accessed write from the editor, that is the blank screen, which was inline accessibility for write. And now you can access write via from the sidebar. Now, when I want to write my method section, I click on write. Here, if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can again query the AI that pass the right feature to give you inspiration, to give you outlines. But I will do something better because I have my research paper ready. Because I have done my research and already have my references from which I have found out methods, conducted those methods to actually do my research. I will use those reference papers to actually get started. I can simply select the attach button. And if this is one paper that I used to actually conduct a couple of my methods, I will attach that particular file. And I will say something like write outline for methods section. I can type my custom query or use any of the default buttons that are present on the screen. Same thing with your notes, the reference papers that you just attached. From that paper, the content will be read. And then, based on your question, a very specific outline of your method section is provided. You will also note at the end that Paperpal tells you that it cannot provide you with references or citations, and that is by design. The reason is, as I mentioned, to ensure that the human is in the loop. We do not want the AI to do the entire literature review or take over entirely for you. We can find our literature, our references have to be specific, we have to read and ensure it. Trust but verify. And now I have my outlines of my method section ready. So I can simply read it. I will ensure that, okay, this content is correct because I have that reference paper with me. I have read that paper. I am certain about it. So I can simply click insert. I will place my cursor over here because I wanted to insert it over here. And now I click insert. So once this is done, I can eliminate some filler text that was present, some content that was not needed over here. I can do all of that. More importantly, you can also ask a follow-up question. As I mentioned, you can ask a follow-up question inline on the editor or even on the sidebar over here. For example, if you want to ask a follow-up question like PubMed searches, I can simply say, tell me more about PubMed searches. So that is how you can use the AI, the right feature of AI, to actually ask a follow-up question on the go, such that while you are writing, if you want some explanation, some simplification, you can simply ask on the screen without actually leaving the tab inside Paperpal itself. So here it tells me something about PubMed searches. If this is relevant, I can include it from the paper, or if it is not relevant, I can let it go and I can continue and expand upon my method section over here. So that is how I can use Paperpal, the write feature of Paperpal, the ability of write feature to attach a file, use that as a starting material to continue my writing process if I have my references. So I have done all of that. My introduction is ready. I have expanded upon my methods because if I did multiple methods from multiple different papers, I can do the same process for different papers to get specific information from each paper, expand on the outline section by section, and now I have a complete entire paper that is ready for me. Now, this is where, let's say, you might want to do some improvements to your paper. For example, you can check the paper for language consistency. For example, by clicking on edit, if you go to edit, you will get all your language suggestions that can improve the proofreading, that can improve your grammar, improve your sentence structures, or you can click on consistency. If there are any inconsistencies in your document, for example, you have written the word figure as FIG in one place and FIGURE spelled it out in full in another place, the consistency check will all catch all of that. Alternatively, you can again use write inline. For example, if you want to simplify this particular paragraph, all you can do is simply select that particular text on the web UI. This Thunderbolt icon will appear over here. Once I click on that, I have access to multiple different options. I can use the rewrite features like paraphrase, make academic to formalize my text, or trim to reduce the word count. You can access them by text selection on the word editor or access them by going to the sidebar and then the rewrite button. Alternatively, if you want to leverage the power of AI, that is, use the power of the write feature inside Paperpal, you can simply click on Tell Paperpal what to write. So now your questions, whatever queries that you have, will be specific to the text that you have selected. So if I want to say something like make this concise, for example, because if I want to reduce it even further, I will say make this concise. So what will happen is that the text that you have selected, that will be taken into consideration. Your input will be taken into consideration, and then it will try to make it as concise as possible. Here you can see I have an output over here. I can also ask a follow-up question. If I want to even simplify it even further, I will just say simplify it. And here you can see it will take the previous output that was generated and simplify it such that it is more easier for people to understand. And that is how I can access the different features of Paperpal, the write feature of Paperpal, the language edits and suggestions, and the rewrite features to actually improve on my text, to polish my text, to edit and improve on my text. So now your entire text is ready. Paperpal can also help you for writing some particular sections. For example, everything is ready in my paper, but I'm not sure how to go about writing my conclusion section. Right now, because conclusion is not something that I have borrowed from a different paper, I have to actually write it on my own from whatever I have written, whatever research I have done. Now, if I need some inspiration for writing, let's say, individual sections, and for example, I cannot refer to many paper for my conclusion because that particular research has not been done yet. You can again use Paperpal's write feature for that particular purpose. All you have to do is select the entire text, either click on the zap icon that will appear, or go to write and say, give me some pointers on how to write the conclusion section. So you will note that throughout this process, I have only asked for outline, I have only asked for pointers and suggestions and recommendations. That is again because we do not want the AI to generate everything and anything for us. We want it to only give us inspiration so that it can act as a true assistant and that I am in control of what I am writing in my paper. So it has given me certain pointers over here. It can tell me that, okay, you restart your research question, you summarize the key findings, so on and so forth. Again, I will read it. I will take a judicious call whether that is appropriate for my paper. Is it relevant for my paper? I will edit it heavily. I can use the rewrite features to modify it, or I can even shorten it or expand it by asking a follow-up question. And that is how I will write sections of my paper by using the write feature of Paperpal. In case if you're writing a particular section like discussion and you want to write a discussion by referring to a previously published paper, you can again do that. You simply attach the paper over here. You give that paper to the AI that powers the write feature of in Paperpal. You tell it, okay, I want to write a contradictory statement or summarize the discussions for me, and it will do that for you at the click of a button. So now moving forward, I have so just to do a quick rewind of what we have achieved so far, we started off with a blank page. We used the AI to get inspiration, to brainstorm for ideas. If you have your notes or your reference materials, you attach them and then get started such that you are starting from a very specific place where you want to be. Then you find literature using the research on Cite feature. You can cite those literature on the go while you're writing using the citation feature inside the research. You can continue writing if you already have existing text, again using the write feature and by attaching your notes, by attaching your references. And once you have done, you polish your text by using the language suggestions, using the consistency features, using the rewrite features. And now that is how, let's say, iteratively, one step at a time, one section at a time, I write, and now my final paper looks more or less ready. Now, this is a step where we would like to get some proper feedback, right? Usually from our seniors in the lab or from our supervisors, from our colleagues, from anybody who knows the particular topic. So usually we would send our paper across to them and then ask them to actually read it, critique it, so that you can improve upon it and refine it. But what if they are busy? What if they are taking too long to respond? What if you want to do one round of critiquing by yourself? You can again do that right inside Paperpal. So if you go to the checks feature on the sidebar, you will see a feature called AI review. AI review has been specifically designed to get review on your paper, to get critical inputs, to get feedback. Let me show you how AI review works. So here on the left-hand side, I have my entire paper from introduction to conclusion. I click on AI review. With AI review, I can ask questions like check the flow and structure. Is it correct? Is the sentence structure correct? Is the story making sense? If you want to get suggestions to expand this particular text, for example, you have only written one paragraph of the introduction or just two paragraphs, but you want to actually expand it even further. So you can get some feedback so that you know exactly what you want to add. So you can use this particular feedback. So if you want to improve on certain sections, you can use that. Or if you want to ask a very specific question that is specific to your paper, you can simply ask that question inside the free text box. So in this case, let me just go ahead and ask AI, what is missing in my conclusion? What more should I add? So in this case, what happens is with the AI review, the entire text that is present on your screen on the editor, that is the left-hand side, it will be read by the AI that passed the AI review feature. It will understand your question and then answer your question specifically based on the context of the text that is present. Here you can see that I asked my question, what is missing in my conclusion? What more should I add? So it tells me that, okay, key findings are summarized, but that it lacks something, so on and so forth. And then it also gives me some specific directions. So here it gives me some specific inputs, which I can read. I can then decide, is this feedback relevant? If it is relevant, I can act upon it. I can go ahead, read some more papers on that topic, find papers on that topic if I do not have it with me, and then improve the conclusion section. Alternatively, I can save this particular feedback because improving on that feedback takes a little time. It's not something that you can do in a matter of few hours. So once you save that particular feedback by clicking the Save Feedback button, you can access it on the top right here, the notebook icon. You will find that particular feedback has been saved. And now you can open that particular feedback at a different point of time, maybe another day, look at it from a fresh eyes, and then you can improve on your final draft of your manuscript. So that is how, with the power of AI, by leveraging the power of the AI review feature, you can get critical inputs, you can get specific feedback on your text so that it is more suitable. If it's a research paper, it becomes more suitable to be submitted to a journal, or if it's an essay, it can be submitted to your supervisors. So once again, doing a quick rewind, we started off with a blank page. Paperpal helps you with the Write with AI feature to actually get started with a blank page. You can attach your file and notes, get started with that. You can find papers. You can ask a question, get an answer. Along with that, you will get some papers, or you can also find specific papers by its title or its DOI. You can continue writing if you already have text present on your screen. You can improve upon those writing. You can polish it, you can edit it, you can rewrite, rephrase, formalize it, reduce the word count. And once all of that is done, once your entire writing is done, you can get review on your particular paper, on your essay, using the AI review feedback. Now, once all of that is done, one common step that comes next, irrespective of whether you're a college student who's writing an essay, or maybe a formal academic essay, or if you're a researcher who's writing a research paper, and that is the plagiarism check feature. Plagiarism can again be accessed under the checks icon on the right side. You click on checks, you click on plagiarism, and a new window will open up. In this particular window, all you have to do is you upload your file. It can be a Word file or it can be a PDF file. You upload the entire topic, entire file over here. Once that file is processed, we use Turnitin sim check to actually check for plagiarism. It will check your paper, the text and content of your paper against Turnitin's massive depository of more than 90 million plus papers and online resources. And then what it generates is a report like this. You can either download the report or you can simply view the report over here. You will get an idea of the overall similarity index of your text, and it will also give you some indications of whether this particular text seems inadvertently plagiarized, if it is missing some citation, or would you need to rephrase or paraphrase it such that the overall similarity index is reduced. Alternatively, you can also click on filters. And if you're someone who has actually published a preprint, and if you want to exclude that from your plagiarism, you can exclude specific things, specific papers, specific content by clicking on here. So that is how you use the plagiarism check inside Paperpal. And to summarize, with Paperpal, irrespective of whether you're a student or a researcher or a tenured researcher, Paperpal helps you get started writing from a blank page, helps you continue writing if you already have text present on your screen, helps you polish your writing once you are done with your writing process, helps you find papers and content if that is what you are looking for, helps you get critical review and feedback on your text with the AI review feature, and then also helps you do a plagiarism check such that your paper and your essay is now ready to be taken forward. So that is all from my side for this demo. I will hand it over to Nolita and make the forum open to any questions. Over to you, Nolita.
Okay, so thanks, Shardul. That was a cracker demo. I think the chat has been buzzing with comments. I think we have 30 plus questions. I don't know if we have time to answer it all, but we'll try and get to as much of it. Before we actually get to the questions, we have an important segment to cover, which I'll get to right in a minute. I love some of the comments. As someone who's been trying the tool has been using Paperpal for 6 months, and they were unaware of so many features. I'm so glad that these sessions are helping. We'll make sure that we have a lot more of them. And I'm really happy to see someone who realized that they're using three different tools for what they're doing today, and with Paperpal they can do all of that writing in one place. And I think that's the vision, right, that I was talking about earlier. Whatever you need for writing, how can we really make that happen as productively as possible? So great. On the back of that great demo is a little bit of as I'd say, maybe theory or some guidelines that I'd like to cover. With the power of AI and all of these great features, it comes with a great deal of responsibility as well. So I want to cover a little bit about what that responsibility looks like. I think some of you have asked those questions in chat as well about plagiarism, AI detection, and we'll get that covered. So here's my 7-point checklist on how you can use AI responsibly. The first and most important check is to consult the guidelines on the use of AI prescribed by a university, professor, journal, or funder. Is it allowed? And if yes, then is it for writing, for editing, for images? The rules may all be different. Typically, AI would be permitted for your own work, but it may be disallowed for tasks such as peer review, where often journals discourage peer reviewers from uploading another person's work into a third party tool. So remember to check these guidelines. When using AI in your own work, it's recommended that you do not cite the AI tool as an author, because AI cannot be accountable for the content. Mostly, you will need to disclose how AI has assisted you with your work. And the guidelines present will typically prescribe where to mention this and even how. Sometimes they even provide a standard template. Now, moving on, the second and the most important part of using AI is never outsource your critical thinking process to the AI. There's a really great article that I read just yesterday by Rachel Miles, and I love this very simple diagram that she's put up there, where on the left you see the traditional process of writing, and on the right the shortcut, right? That's become very tempting, where one tends to often skip the process of a deep literature search or a study before getting into the drafting process. Now, when you do this, you lose out on developing your voice, developing your point of view on the topic you're writing about. So, what can you do? And that brings me to point number three. Use AI to enhance the process of doing this research. Use the right tools that access the reliable and the latest sources of research. So, there were a lot of questions on saying, what kind of research does PayPal access? Is it quality research? Does it come in from Scopus Index journals? How recent are they? So we connect to our sister product, our Discovery, which is primarily a research discovery tool. And what they do is they have relationships with publishers worldwide, and they index over 250 million papers. Now, these include published works, preprints, patents, conference proceedings, all of it. Now, what we also do is we update this database daily. So that means you have the latest research at your fingertips. Now, these are the things that really matter. So you choose the right tool. Now, there's a mountain. 250 million is a large number. So use AI smartly to sift through the mountain of research papers. Use AI summaries, use quick extractions. Now, with this, you'll be able to shortlist those 10, 20, 50 most important papers that matter to your work. Then get down to the brass tacks and do the reading. There's no shortcut. There's some great advice on YouTube on how to efficiently scan and read a paper, but that's how far you'll get. Now, even in the writing process, you're likely to discover new plots and twists that you need to cite. But when doing so, don't just skim the title and the excerpt that a tool might show you, because it might seem related to your writing. Read the abstract, save the paper for a deeper study later. Never ever blindly add citations. Now, let's come to the writing process, the part that I love the most. Remember, as Shardool said, you, the human, are the expert. You need to be in the driver's seat. Think of the AI as your partner, as another member of your team that's just going to make you do things faster, more productively. Use the AI to multiply your ideas. Take a cue and then build on it. When you're stuck, just to help you propel forward, find that word, find that sentence. Most importantly, don't just insert what the AI has to spit out into your text. My personal hack, and I use AI to write as well, is when the AI recommends some text, I keep it on the side or I paste it above while I actually type the final narrative in my own words. Now, this helps me incorporate the parts that I find useful and discard what's irrelevant. And this is very important because AI outputs can be extremely verbose. Now, another hack that I've heard from a PaperPal user, and I'm yet to try it myself, is to speak out aloud what you've written. Now, when this happens and you hear yourself, you quickly identify parts that don't sound like you or how you would say something. And that allows you to bring in the originality into your writing. It makes it your work. Another great use of AI, as demonstrated by Shardul, is to self critique or review your work. Get recommendations on how you can improve a section, the flow, or a very specific aspect of what you're working on. Basically, you can ask the AI to role play your professor, your supervisor, a peer reviewer, anyone that you want. Now, coming to the last few, at number 5, a very popular question in chat, uh, checking for plagiarism. It is very important to check your writing for similarity. With the use of AI, similarity with published works is on the rise because AI is trained on knowledge that's out there. So it's important to check your writing at various stages for any inadvertent plagiarism. What's equally important is to use reliable, trustworthy software. The attraction of free tools is very high, especially for plagiarism. But remember, there is no free lunch. So often, if a tool is free, be it for plagiarism, for AI, or anything, it's likely your data that you're paying with. So check the policies and protect sensitive data when using such tools. Coming to AI detection, the most talked about and asked about topic. Now, if you've correctly followed the checklist up until number 5, honestly, you don't really need to be worried about being called out for use of AI, provided you're allowed to. But the fear of AI detection still looms over everyone. It might happen that as a student or a researcher, you might be called out by AI detection tools at the university or by the journal. That's a very real possibility that the tool may make a mistake because this technology isn't foolproof. There's an AI detector that claimed that the Constitution of the United States was written by AI. There are studies that have proven that AI detection tools mistake the writing of those whose first language is not English as AI written. I think someone asked, how do I convince my HOD about it? We have an article on the PaperPal blog that we'll share. And there's a lot of published research that proves this. So remember, these tools are not a verdict, but they are still used as part of the process. Why? Because they are merely a signal for a professor or a journal editor to run a second check. So engage in an open dialogue and keep handy an evidence of your writing history. Finally, don't let the fear of AI detection, plagiarism, or anything else hold you back from experiencing the benefits. Today, leading writers have found a way to incorporate AI into their process for better outcomes. Remember to educate yourself, find the right toolkit, and your path. So, with that, I end my 7 point checklist, and it brings us to the end of today's official presentation. Before we get to the Q&A, as I mentioned, we have a little goodie for you. We have an exclusive offer with a special 30% off for our audience today. on PaperPal's premium Prime Pack, the annual plan. And if you just want to try PaperPal before you decide to buy, we have a forever free version that doesn't use any of your data. Don't worry about that. PaperPal in general doesn't use any of your data, whether you put into research, into writing. All of our models are trained outside, so you don't need to worry about that. It just comes with certain limits on how you can use in the free version. So go on and give it a try in the free version and make sure you upgrade by the end of the month. It's valid until then. And at last, we'd like to get your feedback on this session. A lot of it came in on chat, but please fill up the feedback form that will be shared in chat. Um, and also, I was really happy to see the kind of engagement that we saw today. We're also passing along a link to PaperPal's newly launched Discord server, where you can continue the conversation with Shardul, with me, the rest of the product, and the PaperPal team. Share your feedback on the tool and be part of people who inform what we build next. You also get to test out the latest features. So remember to join that as well. I know we're over time, but we'd love to stick around and quickly address maybe some of the top questions that we couldn't cover as yet. So we'll extend by maybe another 5 minutes. I know we have about 30 plus questions, but Shardul, I hope you're up for rapid fire round that we'll quickly go through.
Let's break it on.
Okay. So the first question is, can I write a manuscript based off an entire dissertation? Is there a word limit for uploading a dissertation file? And do you need to buy a paid version? So that's a big question, but meaning I would recommend, don't just upload an entire dissertation to any tool and summarize it all at one go. Try to break it up into chapters, see how you can make it more concise, and then extract the meaning that you want the manuscript to be based on. PaperPal does have, it has a word limit in the sense that if you open up the tool for it to perform really well, you can work with about 15,000 words reasonably well. Otherwise, you might find it get a little bit slow, which is why we recommend that as a limit. But you can check unlimited amount of text. Just think of it as batches. We had a whole bunch of questions on research. So while I covered it earlier, I'll repeat again. PaperPal, can PaperPal access Scopus Index journals and other journals from reputed indexing agencies? Which database are these papers from? How can we trust that the questions and the responses? And I think we have, is the updated or the related research from this year? And can we really only include citations from top journals? Now, in all of these, what I'd like to mention is, as I said, we are connected with our sister product, our Discovery. It's a database of 250 million plus research papers. This includes preprints, published works, conference proceedings, patents. Now, all of this we source directly from publishers. So this includes Scopus Index journals and basically about 42,000 plus journals, I think, as of date. These are updated daily. Because we have live pipelines with these sources. So if there's the latest research there, you will find it on PaperPal and our Discovery. And as I said, you can be rest assured that if you're asking questions to research and you're worried about your next big research topic getting scoped, or you're worried about that, we don't use any of that data to train our models, nor does it get shared externally in any form. So we take privacy very seriously. There was also a related question as to whether PaperPal can be linked to a reference manager like EndNote or Zotero. Currently, we don't support direct integrations where you can sync, but we've just released, Shardul demonstrated the export capability, which means if you save papers in PaperPal, you can export it to a BibTeX, to a CSL, or to a RIS format, and those can be very easily just imported into any of these tools. Um, okay. What are the models being used? Is it ChatGPT or other models? Some are more smooth to read than others. Now, PaperPal actually has a mixed model format. We have our own AI, plus we have fine-tuned models or foundational. We have fine-tuned models as well that we use so that every feature is basically optimized for the best output. So it's the model in combination with prompts. So Shardul here, along with the rest of the team, are actually, churning out, testing out expert prompts. We have a whole, prompt writing team that's really trying to make sure we get the right model and the prompt mix to give you the best output. So that's why if you've ever tried rewrite and make academic on Paperpal, I can guarantee you it's the best as compared to the what you see out there. Um, so moving on, I uh, okay. Are all of these features available in MS Word? Now we have, and I think we briefly covered this during the demo, but PaperPal currently works on web, and we have an add-in, which means that if you're writing in Word, you can use PaperPal and all of the features within Word. The only features that are web only features are basically the plagiarism check and pre submission checks, which you need to go to the web and upload the files. What's really exciting, and I'm just going to reveal it to this audience today, is we are now going to be launching PaperPal for Overleaf, which is our Chrome extension. And by November, we're hoping to get to Google Docs and a regular Chrome extension as well. So that's been on the wish list of our users for a very long time, and I'm really glad that we can get there soon. We'll start with language suggestions and rapidly work our way up. Um, Okay, I think my team's curating, but there are a lot of questions. So, what we're going to do is we're going to pause here because I think we're well over time. But we'll try and kind of address these questions either through a blog post or on Discord. Just connect with us. And once again, thank you everyone for taking the time out, and wish you all a productive academic year. And look forward to all of you trying the features we demonstrated today and hearing your feedback on this. Thanks and have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye and take care.